Welcome. This is the Late Late Show with BT, where views with security and law are being provided to you, the public. So this is our second day back, and we were doing Audible only. We tried that the first show back on Bambuser, but that didn't quite work out. So we don't have an Audible only at this time. So hopefully we'll bring it back in. And right now, it's will be both on YouTube and Bambuser. So our publishings, and we haven't forgot or neglecting the beat, but it's all related to the Audible only. So our publishings: The Advocate, August, September 2015, Vogue, July 2015, Time, July 20th, 2015, and W, August 2015. So let's start. And we're starting with our news and topics. My fall collection is about the energy of old New York graffiti, boomboxes, and icons like Madonna, TLC, and the Beastie Boys, the designer Jeremy Scott says. I actually am better in less clothing. Chrissy Teigen. This is the secret to the best selfies. It took me a while to kind of get the whole selfie thing, but I definitely get it now, especially since doing this show and being with security and law and, getting timing, how everything's supposed to work together. And I get how the selfies are here now, especially in the celebrity community. Beyond the Pale. Bottega Veneta. Saving people money since 1936. That's before there were personal computers. So we're in news and topics with Joel Stang. I said pastry chef, but 3 weeks later I thought it was travel agent. Until right then, I had no idea how much it sucks to be a senior director of identity management strategy. But then my 6-year-old son came home from his first day of Camp Furious, and they had to go around and say their name and favorite foods. He reassured me that it's not that I stopped loving things, but that none of our passions are all that real to begin with. At our fragile middle age, we're not capable of discovering a new band or type of food that suddenly makes us feel like, now I'm the person I was planning to be. And it stops there. Now I'm the person I was planning to be. I guess I learned that, I was never a good planner. There's she's like, well, typically when I make a plan, this is what I'm going to be doing in 5 years, or this is what I'm going to be doing in 2 years. Because, typically when you have an interview, sometimes that's one of the questions they ask you. Like, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or what do you see yourself in 10 years? That's always a question. Like, it's an expectation for you to have like a blueprint of where you're going to be in 2 years or 5 years. So just like, like in 2 years, or when I'm going to do something in 2 years or 5 years, typically that's what I'm doing. Like, but um, mine's just I never like sat down to like do like, it's like, yeah, in 5 years, I think I'll be doing this, I'll be doing this, but it's more like I'll be doing exactly what I'm doing now, like arts, like that to me was just, I guess, better. Like I know it had to be something because that's, like who I am. Like I'll be who I am. But like an actual plan, an actual I was specifically be doing this, that just never worked out for me. But again, planning to who you're planning to be. Who you're planning to be. You're planning to be as if you're not now. Okay. Lisa Schwarzbaum. The romantic comedy, much anticipated by the many fans of comedians, who writes and stars, who directs, follows fictional, a 30-something woman barreling towards psychological disaster while disguised as a good time girl, content with a life of all sex, no strains, and lots of booze. With the mantra monogamy isn't realistic, instilled in childhood by her less than ideal dad, has settled into adulthood believing that her meaningless one-night stands are expressions of empowerment. Played with charm, cuteness, and quick wits by Saturday Night Live MVP Bill Hader, messes with the brittle world by mattering. She has not planned for feelings. After all, she regularly mocks her younger, married, motherly sister, Kim, for all that boring normality. In between, the mighty basketball superstar neatly assists with superb comic timing playing himself. It is a mushy romantic who loves watching Downton Abbey and is allergic to picking up dinner tabs. Its script, to be sure, drawn on aspects of her past. Michael D. Lemonick. Spacecraft have captured up-close images and scientific readings of all 8 planets in our solar system, and now Pluto is about to be added. So if you didn't know what we're discussing now with Michael D. Lemonick, it's the path to Pluto. Surely NASA's strategic vision included a later trip by a different ship to visit the tiny planet. And for the record, nobody doubled back then that it was a planet. But through failure of both will and wallet, NASA had no such plans. So evidently Pluto in 2015 is 3.7 billion miles. New Horizons, also 2015, will be the first vessel to study Pluto's environment. Neptune, 2.8 billion miles. Ultimately, New Horizons will come to within just 6,000 miles of the icy world, furiously snapping pictures and recording data on the temperature, structure, and composition of Pluto, its 5 known moons, and anything else that might be there. More moons, perhaps, or a system of rings. They trudge to and from conference rooms, armed with charts and photographs and spreadsheets with technical specs demonstrating why this latest version of a Pluto plan would be better, faster, and cheaper than the one before it. And each time NASA said no, usually on the grounds of budgetary poverty. They said things like, you have better things to do with your career, and there's a fine line between being in the groove and stuck in a rut. From the moment of its discovery in 1930, an Illinois farm boy who talked his way into a job at Arizona's Lowell Observatory, even though he'd never been to college, the tiny world fired the public imagination. In the decades after Pluto's discovery, better observations made it clear that the new world wasn't anywhere near the size of the 7,926-mile diameter Earth, but just 1,471 miles across, or smaller than the moon. And starting in the 90s, astronomers began to realize that Pluto isn't alone at all. It's merely the brightest member of an enormous swarm of ice-covered objects that make up what's known as the Kuiper Belt, which orbits the sun out beyond Neptune. Not only would something that aspired to be a planet have to orbit the sun and be spherical, but it would also have to clear its neighborhood of any other bodies of similar size. And I are not always on the same side of the argument, he says, but then that's what makes the frontier of any endeavor a vibrant place to be. That would suggest that Pluto, long assumed to be totally inert, is geologically active, with slush or even water erupting from underground to create a fresh surface even every so often. Planetary scientists think a similar scenario created Earth's moon, which means New Horizons could help them understand the Earth-Moon system better. The problem was caused by a timing anomaly in one of the spacecraft's automatic commands, a command that fortunately won't need to be repeated for any part of the Pluto encounter. Pluto. Speaking of which, Planet Fitness, I think it's like $10 a month, and that's it. But the only thing with Planet Fitness, they don't have gym. They don't have like group exercise classes. Um, it's just machines and that type of exercise. But it's Planet Fitness, so what else would you expect? So I guess that's gold star for Planet Fitness. Michael Schur. They cheered his indictment of a growing oligarchy. 58% of new American income goes to the top 1%. The top tenth of the 1% have more wealth than the bottom 90%. The gap is wider than at any other point since 1928. Not since promised to break the money monopoly and hollered, "I welcome their hatred." At the plutocrats, has the Democratic Party found itself so inflamed against the intersection of wealth and power. It is the battle for the soul of the Democratic Party. Her message, repeated with precision, is that both Republicans and Democrats have misread the economic challenge and been co-opted by the forces of greed. It is the result of deliberate decisions made by the leaders of this country. Two-thirds of Americans now believe that wealth should be more evenly distributed among more people, and an even greater share of the country supports raising taxes on those who make more than $1 million. Among Democrats, nearly 90% believe that the government should do more to reduce the unequal distribution of wealth. Most party elders believe would have done even better had she chosen to seek the presidency. To see where the battle lines are drawn, all you have to do is list the fights has picked with her own party over the past year. She wants to break up the big banks, increase funding for Social Security, and slow the revolving door between the White House and Wall Street. When Larry Summers, a top economic aide to both Presidents Obama and Clinton, and a former consultant to Citibank, seemed close to getting his dream job as chairman of the Federal Reserve, joined a Democratic mutiny and sank his chances. The backlash has been fierce, as many in her party warned in public and private that she risks overplaying her hand. She is pushing the envelope, but there is a danger of going across the line. But the similarities break down over how far and fast to go in financial regulation and fast trade agreements. Back in the days when he was working as a community organizer in the shadow of Chicago's shuttered steel mills, she dove into the records of America's bankruptcy court, studying the sharp rise in American debt defaults during the 80s and 90s. She concluded the culpability lay not with the great weather systems of technological change in foreign competition, but with a bipartisan American ruling class. In mid-June, as lawmakers rushed to get out of town for the 4th of July, I met with in her Senate hideaway in the basement of the U.S. Capitol, a windowless room about the size of a janitor's closet. Her father's heart attack when she was 12 sent her family to the brink, forcing her mother to go back to work at Sears and to work as a waitress in her aunt's restaurant. Came to Washington in 1995 as a scholar recruited by a Clinton administration appointee for a blue ribbon panel to study bankruptcy reform. Own research had found that the primary triggers for bankruptcy were job loss, and illness, and that in many cases, debtors were tricked into default by complex financial products and fraudulent sales tactics. Here is the coalition of giant credit card companies whose plan was to improve their bottom line by 1 or 2 percentage points by just steamrolling millions of American families, she says. The fight ended in defeat in 2005 after Clinton, who had become a New York senator, switched sides and voted to support the bill. She was recruited by Nevada senator to run a congressional oversight panel for the 2008 bank bailouts and quickly made herself a vocal critic of the Treasury strategy, which focused on stabilizing the biggest banks before turning to the problem of homeowners who were being evicted. The worldview is just different, she says, of Obama's other economic advisors whose careers had revolved around and often passed through the biggest banking institutions. But the next party agenda will be the promise of the Democrats' 2016 nominee, and centrists have been rushing to propose their own set of reforms, retreating from the long-held view that loosing capitalism from regulation would unleash benefits for all. Brookings Scholar and Bill Gaston, for instance, both veterans of Wall Street-friendly Democratic Leadership Council, sent a clear signal to Clinton this summer when they proposed new curbs on executive compensation, stock buybacks, and other forms of financialization that they argue have bled the economy of jobs. Economists like Summers, who encouraged the banking deregulation of the 1990s as a way to increase growth, speak often now about targeted measures to rein in the rents accrued by the wealthy, like limits on intellectual property, stronger enforcement of antitrust laws, and tax reforms to increase purchasing power at the bottom. At least in Democratic circles, the idea that economic inequality can be handled by taking steps to lift all boats no longer holds sway. Clinton, for her part, has already adopted much of the language attacking the idea in her campaign announcement speech that if we let those at the top pay lower taxes and bend the rules, their success will trickle down to everyone else. But a woman whose family finances and political fortunes have long been entangled with the biggest Wall Street firms has not yet declared how far she is willing to take the party down the populist path, or whether she is willing to pay the price of cutting ties with some of her biggest backers. In the meantime, Clinton is trying to get back on the fence in her own party. They are sending a message loud and clear to the people that own America, to the big money interests, that enough is enough. So again, there's no vote for Al here, which is a good thing because of boundaries. So therefore, when it comes to Democratic versus Republican, we definitely support that you focus, whether you are Democratic or whether you're Republican, that you focus on what you have. It's like if you are a LPN versus the chief nurse, you focus on what you have. So it's kind of like that, as opposed to just like trying to go back and forth and we're better than you and we're better than you. So that's, our vote for L response in that perspective. But as far as Clinton being a 2016 nominee representative for Democratic, because we are four Democrats and Republicans, we would say no, just because of we're more supporting that Clinton interest to focus on what is the political relevancy that the Clinton administration or the Clinton family is up against at this particular time. And address that, address what's there, and figure out if, if the question is whether there's something else beside the Senate that needs to be focused on, and like explore that, but not get distracted that maybe it's the presidency. Not get distracted with that maybe the next option, the next step is the presidency. But explore where that next step is, and what is that, where is that political relevancy, because this is a live show, so where is that political relevancy as it relates to life and livelihood. That's our suggestion. After rejecting a new bailout, Greeks find themselves on the brink of an economic disaster. Millennials can't afford to be colorblind about race. Victor Luckerson. Because we have been taught to believe in happy endings, it's easy for young people to view racism as a problem that will inevitably be solved, or perhaps already has been. And in our own lifetimes, we reached a new racial milestone when Barack Obama became the U.S. first Black president, thanks in large part to a groundswell of support from young voters of all races. Now, the Late Late Show with BT is, what is that blurb? Does not necessarily support that statement. But that may actually make it harder for us to have much needed discussions about race. In a 2014 survey by MTV, 91% of people ages 14 and 24 said they believed in racial equality, and 72% said their generation believes in equality more than older Americans did. Blacks are 2.5 times as likely as whites to be arrested for drug possession, even though about the same percentage of blacks and whites use drugs. According to surveys conducted by NORC at the University of Chicago from 2010 to 2014, 31% of white millennials rated blacks lazier than whites, just 1 percentage point less than Gen Xers, and 4 points less than baby boomers. But there's a collective cost as well. Michael Hayden, who also ran the NSA, I view the NYPD to be the second best intelligence organization in the country, and I'm a former director of the CIA. I view the NYPD to be the second best intelligence organization in the country, and I'm a former director of the CIA. Who also ran the NSA. So I guess, I don't know, stop saying that he hired you. I don't know, maybe. Copeland has danced with the American Ballet Theater since 2001. By the numbers, we don't have to be imprisoned by the past. The best of 2015 so far. Time has picked the best of the year's production so far, with high marks going to Mad Max Fury Road, FX's series The Americans, and the electro pop dance hit King by British trio Years and Years. If you are interested in knowing the complete list, time.com/2015 best. Is blurring the line between fashion and Hollywood. Mark Guiducci. She's so selective of her projects, he explains, but then she disappears. And that's with photography by Gregory Harris. Band together. Double trouble. North of the border. Now for Patrick Kenmouth. As you approach, the silence is defined by the sound of horses quietly grazing outside the garden. For both of us, cutting and gathering plants and flowers is a kind of meditation. Gestures, indigo, putty, and rose-colored linens, tables stretched out long, a huge branch of a flowering tree in a metal tub found on the street, walls washed with pigments dug from the ground and hung with masterpieces by, say, have inspired a generation and be copied from Beirut to Kensington. His approach is to stand back in equal proportion to being hands-on, exposing materials to the elements and allowing the eye to rest peacefully on the results, just as vines and wisteria in gardens and on terrace clamber to erase his touch. Behind the castle on the other side are the stables and walled gardens where draftsmen, upholsterers, blacksmiths, and carpenters work on large-scale projects. Often people cut low, drooping branches because they are in the way, he says. But those are the branches I leave in place. The garden ages more naturally and beautifully like this, and your path through it becomes more fascinating if you need to watch where you are trending. When rest is required, there is a pergola of wisteria with an oak table and chestnut bentwood chairs. At night, the gardens are lit with gourd-shaped lamps of beaten brass, fashioned, this tells me, from the leftovers of De Niro's brass roof in New York. The latest innovation, 4 years in the making, rises within a large enclosure in which had the idea to banish the old formality of topiary and boxwood and reinvent it as a prairie garden. Don't do just a little bit, he said. May and I chose the perennial plants and flowers we love, some 750 species in all, that look natural and wild, and classified them by color, fading from yellow to orange, red, purple, and blue. The question was how to bring the essence of Eastern philosophy into Western garden architecture. Now his mid-60s has taken a step back from the business, if only to have a clearer overview. We are not trying to rule nature. We are letting nature be the boss. The body electric. So Mark Guiducci was just 29 years old in 2003 when he became the youngest person ever to win the Academy Award for Best Actor. His riveting performance in bleak World War II drama The Pianist instantly catapulting him to Hollywood's top ranks. Though he grew up drag racing and collected American muscle cars in his early 20s, he now follows both Formula One and Formula E, composed entirely of electric-powered vehicles, which lured him to Monaco for a race in May. Is also an accomplished enough musician to be considered scoring a film. His elegant frame and distinctly avian features have walked the Prada runway. He directed, produced, and stars in a documentary about renovating a castle in upstate New York that premiered at SW earlier this year, or last year. And by the by, he is schooled in martial arts. Somehow then it makes perfect sense that Brody has become an action hero in China, where his film Dragon Blade, he stars opposite Jackie Chan and John Cusack, has grossed more than $200 million. Perhaps the biggest surprise, though, is that it's Goodman, as well as who is the band's namesake. Mark Guiducci. John Powers, pop idols are supposed to burn out, not fade away. Even as her musical brilliance is overtaken by the pressures of fame and addiction, what never dims is that incredible, one-of-a-kind voice. Mark Holgate. I watched her make a startlingly confident impression when, after her first show at the writing school of Paris's Republican Guard in March, she stepped forward with smiling aplomb to field questions from a battalion of jostling journalists. I said I thought we should go back to the stable and re-entwine this story of the horse. Months later, I trotted off to follow her into the inner sanctums behind the hallowed orange box things that have come to signify all that is cultivated in French. Through the store at 24 Faubourg Saint-Honoré, the showrooms, the workshops, and into the imposing modern ateliers at suburban Panton, a place kept so secure from prying eyes that visitors are asked to leave their passports at the desk. Every era has it. You need to be relevant with your time. The challenge is to be pertinent in the 21st century. Born in Lille in northern France, she studied just over the Belgian border at Antwerp's Academy of Fine Arts before being hired. Said patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. I was intrigued by the story, she exclaims, proffering a double-faced cashmere coat with a wide burgundy stripe through it. It's like that. Terms arise and are buffed by the patina of age. I'm beginning to think it's a tease. But there's another part of mentality that belongs to a rising international generational wave of women designers who've grown up to navigate by the certainty of their own instincts. In her case, a taste formed as a teenager by listening to British indie bands, trawling for 70s clothes in charity shops, and absorbing movies. To be precise, as all things must be. It is a 45 centimeter square silk pocket handkerchief. So you want to know how to knot a scarf the Hermes way? Lay the scarf flat in a diamond shape and bring the bottom point to join the top, forming a triangle. Then you fold the top point down to the center of the base. Then you fold down twice more. Mark Guiducci. The punk pop pixie, better known as, extols the various sartorial virtues of bowl cuts from Montreal, mask made from spiked bandanas in Beijing, ancient-looking kimonos picked up in Tokyo's Harajuku district, and a giant gold Versace chain, she says. Even when dressed by the designer she tends to inspire, who invited her to both this year's Met Gala and the Cruise Collection in Palm Springs 2 days later, where she also DJ'd the after party, is always herself. So, talking back, let's talk back with Lisa Tant. I can already hear some readers clucking in dismay at these interlopers, begging you to bring back the old supermodels and true Hollywood stars. It's a celebrity invasion. Where would they end up next? So those are our news and topics. So of course what we have next is our fashion and art showings. So I guess I have to just put in my little blurb about our focus right now is, I guess I'm gonna just put it all and just say our focus is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Bring out Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Even with fashion and art showings. So, everyone has their own way of contributing, and sometimes it's not in print. Sometimes it's not in communications. Everyone has their own way. like this photo by Marco Black. And Eric Bowman. NT for the Advocate. Patrick DeMarchelier photo. Photography, Tim Walker. Jane Knoxville. And Lauren Rockline. Beauty, Black Coffee, and Tim Howard Management. Style, Patrick Mackey. It's like, how does style, Patrick Mackey, contribute to bringing out Mr. and Mrs. Smith? The real Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Manicure, Michelle Saunders. And Michael Kors collection. And those are fashion options. So, you know, it seems, I guess, kind of easy if you given like, oh, you know, this is who we want here, and you have their name, you know what they look like, you know where they live, you have the number. You know, it seems really simple, you know, but the reality is it really isn't, you know. So, you know, it's kind of, I don't want to say complicated, it's just a lot of things to consider, and staying in the right character, and, you know, especially when it's, you know, there are other things tied into it, like life and blood. I guess when you have like a show that's live and that's what you have, a lot of live productions, and it makes sense that those type of situations are tied into it, you know, because there's commitment, there's duty, there's responsibility, you know, so so it's not that complicated, you know, it's not that easy, it's not that simple, you know. Life, breath, blood, family, you know, bloodline, you know, you want to be in the right character, you know, you want to, you know, you only have it because you're peaceful. And that's the only way that you have it. Not because you're warlike. So it's important that anyone that has a tendency, those types of those offenders that have the tendency to kind of go into like not the good type of frame of mind or perspective with regards to war and you know um, family. Um, gotta be in a character to keep those um, to be in reality with it. And like the reality is that it's not what's here and it's not who we are. Um, even when something comes up, even when it's that something comes up that isn't um, that's difficult to digest. So bringing out Mr. and Mrs. Smith, real Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it's a lot with that. So you want to make sure that it's right, and all the wrong that you have, you want to make sure that all the wrong that you have is with right. Yeah, all the bad that you have is with good. Um, so that's what we're buzzing about. In addition to that, being connected to law and being connected to security, or being connected to law, then you have to address all of those legal issues, like death row with, twerking being on death row. You have to address that. Um, and if you have that's in Missouri, um, so then it's in Missouri, twerking on death row in Missouri, but it's still relative to Virginia, you know. Um, so there's that, and then there's the SADA, and keeping those boundaries. Like when it comes to celebrity invasion, it sounds like it's sounds like a really cute proposal, interesting, but what about when you add ASADA being, connected to that, and the importance of you're out in the celebrity world when you're a public person, um, those boundaries from the public, to like what is supposed to like be, just that's not available to the public. How you keep those boundaries when, you know, um, come crossing over into like that which isn't, like Asada, how do you keep, what is public and what's, prevention and what's law, from someone, trying to impersonate a police officer and, you know, put somebody in jail, or, and, charge them with a murder case, when it's, needed to be kept separate, but sometimes like, how do you have to protect yourself from those? It's like, no, this is that person, that person does that. No, that's Denzel Washington. Like he played that too good, for it not to be, I had to protect them. Then it's like, uh, so those boundaries. Um, so it's like celebrity invasion, yes, it's cute and it's a cute proposal, but it's still a lot to that when it comes to having public responsibility. And because the moment it crosses over, the moment there's an offense, and like in Asada's case, how do you defend that? How do you articulate that that's what the issue is when it's like It's like, this is badge number such and such and such. Yeah, we're in this. They're calling this person at the they're dispatching this person. We're in such and such and such, and we're in pursuit of license plate number such and such and such. We need backup. How? So it's like it's not that simple. You know. So the buzz. Interior life. Who got it? So diesel black gold jeans. Got it. And that was Holly Buzz. So we started a new segment called Totally Awesome. And what I want to do is, since we are focusing on bringing out the real Mr. and Mrs. Smith, in addition to everything that has to be addressed with it, like boundaries, public and not public, and ASADA, and we are going to use Totally Awesome to kind of focus on that as well. So, like ASADA, it's like the, like being over there in Cuba and like years and years and years and years. It's like you're waiting for someone to kind of get, it's not even about being a criminal, being on the run, being wanted, and like, in exile. And I'm getting away with this, and I got away with this. It's about like being protected until someone gets your case, because, like, it's like a situation where like you're a celebrity and you're, they're trying to charge you for a crime that your character, they're trying to charge you for a crime in a movie for a character that you played, but they're trying to arrest you, the celebrity, in a criminal's ID. And someone else's ID that's not even you. Because like they don't know how they, like, how do we do this? And that manipulative criminal mind impersonating an officer. How do we do this? So they're trying to arrest you in someone else's ID for a crime that you showed in character in a movie or on television. And they're trying to do that in life, in real, with a radio dispatching. Like, I'm in pursuit of such and such and such. So, it's about, people in this industry getting it, from not just the law, but from the security and the arts as well, and that's why, that then you get that it wasn't, someone invading your jails and invading your correctional facilities, that it was people who cared about the law, and this person needed to be protected until someone got that that was a situation. Because how could you have a proper, I think the thing is, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. And if you cannot afford an attorney, no, you have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to you. I think the point is, you have the right to an attorney. You have the right to an attorney, not um who this impersonating a fraud officer tried to arrest you in someone else's ID, a criminal's ID, not yours. Not that. You have the right to an attorney. I think that's how it goes, pretty much. Yeah. So in a court of law, that's supposed to be upheld. I think. But we just use it security and law, right? But still with security and law. And yeah, so part of that is you have the right to be defended. So we're in Totally Awesome with June Thomas. I don't imagine that their curators consciously set out to achieve this distinction, but building and displaying a collection of portraits that represent a nation's great men and women tends to put gay and lesbian citizens right where they deserve to be, on museum walls. Transgender subjects are still vastly underrepresented in the portrait collections on both sides of the Atlantic, however. Next to a striking portrait of a young man looking away from the artist, his eyes slightly downcast as to avoid notice, the label indicated that William John Christopher Vassar was a junior diplomat in Moscow who was blackmailed by the KGB for his homosexuality in the 1950s. Nearby, there are enough portraits of female lovers to fill a small gallery, from painted with her teeth bared by her one-time lover, insouciating crossing her legs in 1926 oral. Others are famously, notoriously, spectacularly gay. I found Paul Hammond's Bronze of disturbingly cold, but that didn't prevent me from forging a queer connection with this subject. Lesbian painter who famously disliked makeup and the form of spring clothing found a Modigliani like a beauty and actress who was conventionally considered plain. Mystery Writer is wearing a suit and tie in Sir William Oliphant Hutchinson's portrait, but that reflects her academic leanings and down-to-earth style rather than a sapphic sensibility. And Brandon Voss. Sure, she scored an Emmy nomination for playing sex research pioneer Virginia Johnson in Showtime's Master of Sex, which returns July 12th for a third season, but it was performance as snarky outcast and Mean Girls that earned her a special place at our lunch table. Rather than ignore the centuries-long relationship between sex work and queer liberation, we should embrace it. So we're still totally awesome. With Michael Musto. The world will be brighter in years to come, but we'll still have. We've made gigantically fabulous strides in terms of visibility, rights, and acceptance over the last several decades, but that's mere pocket change compared to what awaits in the gay future. Sometime in the great beyond, all the things we still struggle to attain will be achieved and taken for granted. And stuff we never even dreamt of will also be served as we enjoy a delicious reversal of the way things were traditionally known to be. But that point of view is a bit presumptuous, since so many other gay plots could permeate the big and small screens and still not shake up the heteromajority rule. Well, in the future, none of these arguments will have to be shot down because they won't even be made in the first place. As a result, no one writing a script will feel forced to assume that a man and woman scenario has to be the main thread of it. let alone the only threat of it. What's more, proposed movies will no longer be short-circuited by studios because they're too gay. Entertainment reports about dating will actually come over some same-sex couples, and game shows will welcome a much broader spectrum of contestants to come on stage and thank their loved ones. It will also be a wacky reversal when real people turn out to be gay, and no one will care enough to battle-lash about it. When someone comes out to their mother, the feared response will turn out to be either duh or thank God. Things will actually go so far in the other direction, that is in the gay future. People will assume that everyone is gay, and they'll be completely thrown when it turns out someone isn't. Trans people, lesbians, and bisexuals won't be greeted with popping eyes of disbelief or arched eyebrows of disdain. They will mix, banter, marry, and carry on. And all kinds of people have no problem dealing with it. Oh, I guess I can take out the trans people, lesbians, and bisexuals won't be greeted. But however, they will mix, banter, marry, and carry on. And all kinds of people have no problem dealing with it. Trans people won't even be called trans people. They'll be men, women, or anything else they want to be called. And those altar dwellers can procreate in ways that won't be looked down on or considered to be somehow inauthentic. Gay rights will keep coming along with the gay rights, and shockingly enough, eventually it will be okay to be unfashionable. But there isn't a channel yet, so we definitely still have some ways to go. Michael Musso is author of Manhattan on the Rocks, Downtown, and Fork on the Left, Knife in the Back, and a weekly columnist for Out.com. So totally awesome, the Big Foodie Tour. That's also the location of a seafood market and the seafood school, where making your dinner under a chef's guidance is a great alternative to table service, and you take the skills home with you. Don't be surprised if you vow to give up your day job to become a roaster on the spot. TheBigFoodie.com. So by the numbers, 17 million is the audience for Caitlyn Jenner, then Bruce TV interview with Diane Sawyer on ABC. Accusations that the principal bullied the Gay-Straight Alliance at San Diego's so-called most progressive high school. Bill Flores, U.S. Congressman from Texas, and healthy marriages are the ones between a man and a woman because they can have a healthy family and they can raise children the way that's best for their future, not only socially but psychologically and economically. Chris Godfrey. Were it not for the intervention of the American Civil Liberties Union, he would have likely been discharged altogether. My only saving grace was the fact that I'd been transparent in logging everything, and that I'd already involved my chain of command and had everything documented up to that point. It's a no-fail mission. I have to be perfect. Who currently stationed in Hawaii on administrative duty. It may be restricting for both physically and mentally, but it hasn't impaired his pragmatism. Obviously, having a male frame and a female cut uniform is difficult because the arms don't fit. Ideally, I like to serve authentically and to the best of my abilities, he says. It's also trying to bring legislative allies on board, a move that previously helped repeal the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy for gay and lesbian military personnel. Though his activism keeps him busy, he still found the time to sing baritone in the Gay Men's Chorus of Honolulu and began training to participate in a men's physique contest as the first transgender man to do so. You can go through a bit of suffering if it's beneficial to other people. When different people come together, it's not just beautiful, it's priceless. The backlash. A study too good to be true. Give them the business. So Eric Holder, why do you give ink to a bigoted, hatred-spewing, racist, white-hating, lying piece of garbage? So we are still totally awesome. In the brief, I view the NYPD to be the second best intelligence organization in the country. Now with David Bondrelli. Trump's marathon speech on the streets of Manhattan announcing his candidacy in June contained large dollars of self-flattery. I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created in his trademark bluster. So where we are not necessarily vote for L, I guess another challenge is when something is very, when something's here and they're going for, I guess president, like Donald Trump. Because then it kind of looks like nobody else's is, you know. And that's kind of, I guess the thing. It just seems like if this is something you're going for the president, that you definitely wouldn't be trying to beat Donald Trump, because you would be focusing on showing the public that what you have to offer the presidency, what you have to offer, to contribute to United, what you have to contribute to the White House, that is not self-serving, that is not to beat out this one, or that a woman can't do the job, or this one can't do the job and that you're better at it. But you will be focused on showing that what you have to contribute is here with United. That would be your focus. So Donald Trump is an example. What he has with the presidency or for the presidency is here. And it's not about him being necessarily whatever you want to call him, a businessman and having this hotel or that hotel. It's because his collective work is here. And there's a specific, there's a relevancy to United. So going against that, when that's already known, it kind of puts you out already, because you're kind of going against something that's here. So just redirect that energy, or have the right people with you and focus on showing that you're here too, and what you have to offer is here as well. That I think would be who Donald Trump would be in this with. That is the type of competition that we stand for, that we have with United. Trump not only promised to build a great wall along the Mexican border, but he also pledged to make Mexico pay the bill. Where the riffing demagogue got into trouble was with his characterization of undocumented immigrants. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with them, Trump declared. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, and I guess that's another good thing that I feel, when you know that something is here, like politically with United, you have something you can back them better, as opposed to like not necessarily knowing like, well, if this happens or if this person goes that way, then like we can't back, or like we can't, we're going this way or we're gonna do this, like, when it's like it went through the proper channels, like it, um, like it got there properly in the right way, like all that time, all that energy, all that work, like it was gotten properly so that, you can take a stand, when it's like Trump did this or Trump did this or Trump said this or Trump said that. You have a clarity, base and foundation of the character, um, to know, you know, kind of gauge what's going on and where it's coming from. Is it an offender trying to like come out? Like where, just, what needs to be addressed in this or what needs to be addressed in that. That's why a lot of times like how and what, um, because, when you're out there publicly and, you know, they're still like the Trump family. They're still Mr. Trump, and they're still Michaela Trump, and they're still E. coli Trump, so you have to have that clarity when you have someone public to separate it from, it's like, Trump said this and Trump said that. And it just makes it easier for us when the body of work is here. Just, to kind of stand by that. And it gives you a sense of like kind of breath of fresh air too, that they got there the right way. And when it comes to the public and them being responsible for, the public, it becomes more like with reality as opposed to something that, has a different like view with security and law. It just becomes different. So back to David Von Dre. NBC Universal booted Trump from The Celebrity Apprentice. Univision axed broadcasts of Trump's beauty pageants. Macy's dumped his clothing and fragrance brand. Serta dropped the Trump line of mattresses. NASCAR scratched future visits to Trump properties. And the PGA relocated a golf tournament slated for a Trump course in California. The only thing I have to say about that is that sometimes when people make choices to be like committed to peace, security, and law, and that's and 100% fully commit to that. Sometimes you lose everything that isn't, not saying that all of this stuff just wasn't, but you want to be careful that there's not misrepresentation, and sometimes that, like it might not have been NASCAR. It was just a NASCAR that just wasn't with, that newfound commitment to law. It might not have, been Macy's. It was just, a layoff. Um, he's in the brand building business. According to his own back of the envelope calculations of his net worth, Trump's name alone is worth more than $3 billion. Adding another splash of gasoline, he upends that tremendous infectious disease is pouring across the border. And that was totally awesome. So our, just like with anything, it's kind of like, you're going to stop what's here when it's here in the proper way. And, our choice for the presidency, it wasn't like, from a popularity standpoint, it's because it's here with United and it's clearly here. And who would we be being with United if we didn't go with, United's choice? Who United chose to be with, to put out there for president? Who would we be? So it's a no-brainer. Oops. Did I say that out loud? But anyway, we have a viewer of 0. So we are still viewing NBT views for the show. But right now, we are getting to our Out Network Spotlight. We supply the craft. You supply the cup. Enjoy the Starbucks coffee you love in the comfort of your home with Starbucks iced coffee brewed to personalized and iced espresso classics. Starbucks, crafted for home. Our Out Network Spotlight. So we're going to begin our BT views, and we are viewing RuPaul's Drag Race season 5. So what's new with RuPaul's Drag Race season? RuPaul's Drag Race is that Cupid went in and just was all in it. So that's what's new. So it's being with this focus of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Cupid going in it in all of the seasons, it makes it a little different. And I said, we have like a viewer of, because I guess let's build the beans, and that's United Shores, and it's like, well, who are we if we don't go with that? It's like, well, we have 0 viewers. Can I keep that? Is that possible? I think I want to. Well, is that how I got in trouble? Or was the L word issue? Because I wanted to keep 0 viewers. Like, no, I don't want to go to 2. I don't want to go to 3. Can I just keep 0? Anyway, we're gonna go to BT Views. RuPaul's Drag Race season 5. Yeah, it's just one of those things when like you gotta be careful about that character. You're like, points, oh, you have 0. I have like 150, but you don't have 0. How you got 150? Come on.
couture, darling. You have just 1 minute to dumpster dive. And ladies, all sales are final. Oh my god, we're dumpster diving for materials. Great, it's a challenge. Gentlemen, start your engines and may the best woman win. I'm trying to get everything I can. Girls pushing and prodding and jumping on top of my head. Ow, that's my leg. This is crazy, honey. Out of my way. Ah. The girl next to me throws the lid up. I won't make it out of this competition alive. My garbage. Can we get out of here? Out of Tracer. That's my face, honey. My money maker. I was pissed. Don't knock me over. Don't knock you over. This squishy little queen over here get on my nerves. I am not afraid to shove my way through the little girls. Mommy! What? And get what I need to get. Oh, yes, and not in a good way. I know. My finger is out. Shopping free, no credit card involved. We entered back into the workroom, and it was time to get to work. Girl. Fabulous. What are you wearing, Proxy? This is my makeup dress. Why? Because I take my makeup off in it. Oh, y'all can't take me? Y'all cannot take my fishy daytime dress. Miss Alaska, put the clothes on, please. First one naked. Look at this. The reason she walked in the room with a horse face was because she is a horse. I'm gonna let it all hang out, darling. Bitch, I live for this. Oh my god, how did you get that? What is that? We got the winner. I am happy with what I got from the dumpster. I found fabulous red sequin fabric. Oh, girl, you got tailors. Mr. Sisters over here. Mr. Sisters? It's so funny, as soon as she pulled out all the red palets, you are now her best friend. She's trying to take Miss Big's fabric. She's getting bother right now. Cut it up. What are they talking about over there? Jay, be careful, girl. Be careful. Why? Why you say be careful to me, Miss Coco? Just be careful, that's all I'm saying. Here she comes. Miss Jay. Find out who your real friends are and you stick by your real friends. I'm not saying a listen not. You can meet your friends longevity. Right? Because we've been in competition. We have been in a lot of competitions. And at the end of the day, it's like you really truly find who your friends are in the end. That's true. That's what you're about. So we'll talk about it later. We don't got nothing to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. You said you find out later who your friends are. So you and I will sit down and talk about that. I want to know what the fuck happened. But we're not going to tell me. We're not ready. I'm definitely feeling the pressure because I floundered in the dunk tank. So hopefully I can redeem myself. I think Alaska is a bad chair. Like I don't mess with everything. Alaska is a one-trick pony at this point. Because, yet again, she's making another dress out of plastic bags. So, Red, there's red carpet, honey. This might get you on the bottom, too. Good luck. Coming up, I just want to keep it kind of classy. Yeah, there's a lot of influences there. This is my plastic evening gown. I just see it in my brain. Okay. I hope it's couture enough. Like wire cutters. This week's main challenge is making dumpster red carpet couture. For some pens, straight pens. I don't know. The workroom's really tense at the moment because everyone's designing their first runway look. And it's important to make a first impression. Everyone's all quiet. That means you guys are stressed. Being an artist, I feel like the best thing to do is just, concentrate on your concept, chew as much as you can chew, and you hope that whatever you spit out comes out right.
Serena's going very slow. She's doing this and that, but there's just kind of no product being made, and time's ticking down.
Hello, hello, hello! Now, is this the real drag queens of Beverly Hills? Yeah! Yes, ma'am! Well, hello, Coco Montrese. Hi, Rue. Now, this outfit, I want to give Debbie Reynolds, Marilyn Monroe meets Madonna. I just want to keep it kind of classy. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of influences there. I don't want to play it safe. One way or another, I need to stand out. So, take it or leave it. This is me tomorrow, and I'm going to turn it. I know that you have a history with Alyssa. Has it gotten in the way so far in the competition? It kind of threw me. This Alyssa situation is a distraction for me right now. And I need to put it aside and focus on what Coco's going to present. All right, Coco. Thank you. You're taking a risk, and I love it. So, go for it. Thanks, Rue. Serena Chacha.
Hi, Rue.
How long have you been doing drag?
For 3 years. Just turned 21, just graduated art school. I do performance art.
Performance art. Now, do you sew?
Yes, but there is a new art movement called soft sculpture. It's more about creating a sculpture rather than just tailoring.
Well, that sounds great on paper, but what does it look like?
It looks like this.
That scares me.
I'm trying to do detail first, just like when you paint.
There's not a lot of time here, you know?
I'm scared
And
about
there's not a lot of dress over here either.
Now, it's still really abstract right now, but I know it's going to come together. Serena said she went to art school. She might want her money back.
I'm just surprised that you're so calm and collected, you know? There's a lot of experienced queens here who are a little further along in their execution of their couture outfit.
All I have to do is come up with a whole performative aspect for my dress, and I'm totally calm. I know this is going to work out. I totally do.
Well, listen, I know you got a lot of work to do here. I can tell. So get back to it.
Okay, I will.
All right, Rue, I appreciate it. All right. Roxy Andrews. RuPaul. Look at you, girl. Girl, I'm Russian. Do you sew? I do sew. Losing weight when I was a kid, I had to take a lot of my clothes in because we didn't have a lot of money. Now, have you recently lost a lot of weight? I did lose. I've lost like 70 pounds. 70 pounds? 70 pounds. And how has that affected the way you dress and the way you feel? Well, girl, now I show a little more body than I used to be able. I used to be 8 corsets, 10 girdles, and not being able to breathe. I used to be a bigger girl, but I still consider myself a girl who's got a little meat on her bones. And whether you're juicy, fat, whatever, embrace what you got and work with it. You're not a big girl, you're a thick girl. I'm thick, I'm juicy. Oh, okay. All right. I'm down with that. All right. Listen, I'm going to let you get back to work here. Thank you, Rue. Thank you. Penetration. RuPaul. You are our fan favorite. The fans chose you. Which is amazing to me. I now have a true respect for politicians. All the begging and the pleading and the vote. So tell me what you're doing. So what, a sort of drop waist? Yes, what I have is this crazy torso. So what I try and do is elongate it a bit, bring it down to my knees, and then you bring your torso down to your knees? Well, ish. Make the length come down here. Well, you were very enterprising in your campaigning to get here, so you've got to be able to translate that into your outfit. Yes. I am going for a look that is more classic. Penetration is not Lady Gaga, and nor does she want to be. Bring it. I'll do my best. All right. Thanks, Rue. Get to work. 49th state, Alaska. You're finally here. I know, yay. How many times have you auditioned for this show? Every time that you're allowed to, and sometimes when you're not even accepting applications. Well, you've worked so hard to get here for so many years, and then I was a little bit surprised that in the tank, you sort of kind of gave up. I just want to encourage you to just go for it every single time. Now, tell me, what are you working on? This is my plastic evening gown. I didn't want to shy away from making it look like it came out of a dumpster. Well, the challenge is to turn trash into flash. Rue is looking at this a little funny, and I know I'm taking a risk. I hope it's couture enough. I just see it in my brain. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna let you get back to work. Thank you. All right. All right, ladies, gather around. Now tomorrow, for your Rue Hollywood premiere, our extra special guest judges will be my old friend Mike Ruiz. Yeah. And from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, your new BFF, Camille Grammer. Now you only get one chance to make a first impression, so don't fuck it up. Coming up, little bitty Serena. She's fucking irritating the shit out of me.
I have a feeling you just like to be the only pretty one. You're so immature, it's just really aggravating.
Get to work, ladies. Today's our first elimination. Somebody's going home. Somebody's lip syncing for their life. And it's kind of scary.
There's a lot of unique pieces of couture clothing.
Off-nigable, nasty, rich. You think Michelle would like that? Pearls hanging off the boobs, baby.
Very
She likes to come home and try to throw me off. She used to do that when we were in competition. Don't worry. She thinks that she's very fashion, but she dresses like a Dracula. How are you feeling?
I am, back and forth between nervous and excited. I'm not nervous at all. I don't know if I should feel bad for it or if I should feel nervous about not being nervous.
I always feel like if you're not nervous, there's something wrong. Time to put on Little House on the Prairie. Category is daytime realness. I see your Laura Ingalls Wilder and I give you Africa. She's Africa, all right. She's a moo-moo. Look, guys, it's a picture of me and Noodles. Oh, Noodles. I miss her so much. Alaska, who's the top and who's the bottom?
Is it competitive with you guys being together? Are you guys competing against each other?
Jealous of each other?
Were you bitter last year? God, don't lie. You can tell the truth.
So many
So this is RuPaul's Drag Race season 5.
I mean, we have fights because
And
it's two giant egos in one tiny house. So
And isn't Sharon the superstar of the relationship now?
we had some difficult times last year. It was like very hard. Like when she was gone, or like before she even left. Before she left, yeah. While she was gone, after she got back, we fought viciously about her getting on Drag Race and me not. I felt pain and rejection like I've never felt in my life. But as soon as that promo aired for last year, like showing who the cast was, I just burst into tears. Aww. And I was like, I'm so proud of her.
so I guess it's making me think about
I had to choose, am I going to be bitter
Sahara
or become her
and
biggest
Manila.
fan? Yeah, I made the right
You know,
choice.
it's like, oh, when Manila became a part of it, it was a time to appreciate being presented a different relationship option. So it's kind of the same in this season
If I was the first to go home,
with Sharon and
I would be
Alaska,
absolutely
that it
just
was,
devastated.
you
I would
know,
feel like I
appreciating both were involved in it. So it's like the community accepted both. So it's about appreciating that another option was being presented.
That was just right next to my ear.
I mean, that one's gonna bug me. That little one. She's already starting to bug. Little bitty Serena. She's kind of irritating. And by kind of, I mean she's fucking irritating the shit out of me. On a constant.
I was born and raised in the Republic of Panama.
Where is Panama?
It's in between Colombia and Costa Rica. It's one of the #1 retirement homes for Americans. You should consider going there.
Not if they're all like you. Yeah, because your mouth doesn't shut.
Oh, okay.
It wears thin very
But you know, it's a
You know, I
tough
have a
career.
feeling like
You
to be the only pretty one.
know,
I just think you're
kind of like
annoying.
doing a late
You can be a
show.
little annoying.
live.
Serena tries to read bitches like she can. She is loud, she won't shut her mouth, and I have had it with her.
There's funny and then there's just like blunt rudeness. Can you not take it? Is that why? Like, oh, honey, I can take it. You're just like so immature. It's just really aggravating. I'm sorry, you're only 21 once, and you only auditioned for this thing once, being 21 and getting right away once. And then you think because you're younger, you think that's an advantage, but we've all done drag longer, so. Does it bother you I keep saying I'm 21? Well, no, not at all. I mean, because honestly, I look just as young as you, but you just keep bragging. Are you sure about that? Girl, you ain't that pretty. Cover girl, don't cover boy, baby.
So just, you know, I just kind of feel like, you know,
Well,
Pearl,
girls, we will see. We shall see.
you know, should be accepted as being, you know, peace when it comes to Sahara and Phoenix.
Welcome to the main stage of RuPaul's Drag Race. From Jersey to LA, it's my bi-coastal buddy Michelle Visage.
Can you believe it's season 5?
Wow.
Gorgeous.
And my favorite leading man, Santino Rice. You come a long way, baby. Welcome, darling. And fab photographer Mike Ruiz.
What's up?
And the very glamorous Camille Grammer is here.
Hello, Rue.
Now, I hear they're letting drag queens shop in Beverly Hills.
Oh, Rue, we've been doing that for years.
This week, it's a classic tale of drags to riches, as we challenged our queens to turn Beverly Hills trash into Tinseltown class. Now, they're ready to make their RuPaullywood red carpet debut. Gentlemen, start your engines, and may the best woman win. Coming up.
The shape is all wrong for you. You're going to get lost in it. That was the makeup for me. It was just awful.
Make a silhouette and perfect it. Hello. And then too much ass. Commence, shake, down. First up, the queen on everyone's lips, Roxy Andrews. Foxy Roxy. The hips don't lie. Walking down the runway. Give him a little bit of hip and bud. Bam! This is exactly what I would wear to an award show. Oh, that ass. Like to spend a night in the Roxy. She has a huge opening weekend. And her box office ain't bad either. Jinx Monsoon.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
I'm serving 100% aquamarine Grecian red carpet couture. I am in heaven right now. I dream of Jinx. Loofah my ass. Detox on the red carpet. Oh, it's severe up in here.
Well, now we know where last season's backdrop went.
Yes. I'm serving Gem of the Holograms Acid Punk going to the Met Gala. And I feel really sexy and gorgeous. Just another day in Hollywood. She's detoxing from crack, by the way. Ivy Winters, the lady boy in red. I feel really amazing because I know that the garment is completely hand-stitched and it's Hollywood red carpet couture. Isn't she giving Jean Kasem
And Janice Dickinson.
Janice Dickinson?
Yes.
Let's have lunch at the Ivy. For your consideration, honey mahogany. La Beja. Serving on, and I'm stomping my heart out down the runway. The men love me, the women love me. You can catch more flies with honey mahogany.
So we're gonna stop it there and close. Yeah, so that was RuPaul's Drag Race season 5. Um, so it's I'm not gonna say it's like Asada, but it is kind of the same issue with Asada. It's like having these issues, these concerns that's in like your private life that's related to public, that separation, and that's about this celebrity invasion. It's about the celebrities, like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like coming out and with that law of separation, and in that world, that law of separation from the celebrity and the public to what is not available to the public. Um, and being protected from those situations, like the Asada situation. They try to take you out of your ID. They just insist that this is you and try to charge you with a crime. You know, that was relative to a character or something in a book or something fictional or something that you showed with regards to a community. So it's not all glam and glamorous, because you think about that, you showing, you committing to like public security, and you're showing something, and with law or medical or with Asada's case, officer, um, uh, etiquette and professionalism, and so it's not all glam and glamour. It's serious, and clearly, with the Asada case, it could be dangerous, and life-threatening, and in a way that's not, what the industry intends. So fortunately for the industry, it showed also that it didn't intend it, that it is with law, it is with security, and it's Cuba. So where we are with that, as with anything and everything that's kind of got put here, is we settle on a law practice. And Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So it's like this, or that, but Mr. and Mrs. Smith brings that element of together and going out together and together. It's like, yeah, it's just me in this little lake show, but I have my little trusty, wonderful free bitch here, and that's like the together that I have right now. But I guess I could say about that, like, why it took so long, because like we had a commitment on together, and being, like, you have the Cinderella ball, and it's like you're coming out into society, like together, it was kind of like that, like coming out into society, like that was like, coming out into society together. So it's kind of like that, like we just stayed firm on that, I guess. Or the community just stayed firm in that togetherness. And I guess they had to take me doing something public. Doing something public was like my free bitch. To kind of like, that process to like put that, together out there, that got it. So that's that progress. The like LGBT and everything else that's here, the twerking teddy bear. And I guess another thing, like it's like it showed that, it's not glam or glamorous, but it's still, this is the community that we have. That the community that we have, like, still shouldn't be exposed to that. Like my free bitch here, this community that we have. And, kind of like that, trying to put you out of your ID. Like, that's not the community that you have. You're not, like, just refuse to accept, that they were caught in whatever molestation, child molestation, refuse to accept that and still try to prove otherwise, putting that this is who you are. That this, you didn't have the community of teddy bears and free bitch and babies are us. That this is who you are, and I'm gonna throw you in jail to prove it, and this and that, so that's the part. That's the part of it. That the dangerous part is, the I'm not going to even say, because it shouldn't be dangerous. It shouldn't be dangerous. Like, babies are us. Shouldn't be, experiencing danger. They're babies. They're supposed to be protected and safe. Not exposed to, the type of danger that, like, don't care, and just, like, put a little clip of the Minion scene in the car with the baby and the pacifier and the little girl in the back seat, and they still like want to go in here and commit, a crime. Like, that shouldn't, be the situation. But that's the thing with the Assata case, the Assata Shakur case, is that you can deny it. Like, it can, as the offender can deny it as much as they want, and well, not can, it's like, but there's denial, there's repetitive attempts to put into a criminal ID, there's repetitive attempts to try to make it appear like this isn't the community that you have, that you're not, babies are us, that you're not, et cetera, et cetera. But it doesn't change the facts, and then, attempt to, go into somebody that has no idea that they're in it, that they're in the community that you have, and try to prove it that way. And then try to use that ID, like, this person's in the community that you have, but they don't know it. And then that's the ID they try to use. So, Assata Shakur, I didn't go through that for however long, being looked at as you're like some escaped convict. Like it's not funny in her situation, but being looked at as an escaped convict when you're just in a community of with Babies R Us and didn't know it, like an employee that worked at Babies R Us, and Anyway, like somebody come in that, weren't supposed to buy uh what do you call those things? A bib or something, and it's like, oh, you rung them up. Like, that's our proof. We got it. We got it. Such and such and such. That's all we needed. It's just terrible. The denial, just accept it. Like, it's here. Just accept it and move on. It's like when life show up, accept it. What the truth is, even if in yours it's like you're a monster, and there's someone else they're not, and they want to move on and be who they are. But we'll continue to update you, on this. And then, another challenge with this audit case is because of that attempt to try to, like, mix the worlds, like, like the celebrity world and what's not available to the public. Because the attempt to do that, the offenders came out in a different way. So it's not like it was, like the industry had to go about it in a different way. It's not like you had to go where this person has, 10 priors and a list of charges out the yazoo and just got out for being, in jail on a drug charge for 10 years, and that's who we're looking for. This one was caught up in tax evasion for a Black supremacist organization that he or she was the executive director of. It's not like that. With reality, so everyone has their own way, and you shouldn't try to like mix the world because like your way is different. Like it has to be this because that's where you are. If it's in the celebrity world or public world and that industry, that they have their own way when it comes to crimes or offenses to them, offenses in that industry, getting to who did it, getting to who it is, how it is, so the law as it relates to every field, the law as it relates to every industry, the security as it relates to all should be appreciated and acknowledged. And that's the challenge when it comes to getting that justice, is, how the industry went about resolving it and identifying the appropriate offenders. So, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, as you can tell from Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that there is a law focus, there is a security focus. It's not just shoot 'em up, bang bang, and guns and sexiness. That and there's a political focus. So there's that full commitment, being fully committed to it. So, like being, amidst something, like being in a shelter, and you have this like, oh, and the protector's like, you have no idea who's like in the shelter. Some could see that as being like a dangerous choice, or a dangerous situation. But going, like having that experience, um, you have to, you still have like, like experiencing that myself. I still have the community that I have. Um, I guess if I could, Tyler Perry, I think he went through that as well. I guess if I could share one thing with him, is that as well. That's still the community that you have. So all those, whatever experience, it needs to be in that perspective. So it's like, you don't want to instill fear in that community. You're a corporate executive, you're on the board of Babies R Us, or you're on the board of Toys R Us. You don't want to instill that type of fear in that community. So you want to stay realistic. And you go out of that, it's like, well, that's my reality. It's dangerous, but is it to that community? Is it supposed to be to that community? So you want to stay within the reality that you have for your community, and make the proper choices for the community that you represent, and have the fear be where the fear is supposed to be, and have it not be where it's not supposed to be, and support that reality, mirroring your environment. So this has been a late show, BT. So I guess that means that my co-host is Mr. Smith and I'm Mrs. Smith. But this has been a late show, BT. Bye.